Things I learned with having had Charlie, RIP, love you bubs, is dog etiquette, but also just being aware of walking in areas where other dogs are frequent and how off-leash areas weren't really for us. But also people who walk their dogs off-leash I don't even know how to start this, because basically what happens is people in not dog off-leash areas have their dogs off-leash and would yell from down the trail, "Don't worry, my dog is friendly." My dog isn't. But my dog's on leash. I'm allowed to walk him. So if your dog gets bitten or something happens, that's on you, my friend. Now, I have walked Charlie off leash. Again, it's do as I say, not as I do. But the thing, Charlie stayed close to me, looking back at me every 2 seconds, and didn't like other dogs, so wouldn't go near other dogs. But I did keep him on leash most of the time. But it was so frustrating walking him and having people have their dogs off leash and then coming up, and then that line, "Don't worry, my dog is friendly," is so annoying. Not really a lesson as much as awareness of my surroundings and where I want to walk my dog. Just general dog etiquette and what I'm looking for in the areas where I choose to walk my dog. So I guess that's a lesson. Number 8, respite, or a timeout, or a break, vacation, whatever you want to call it. It's where human parents drop off the kids at grandma's house. It's the same thing for dog owners. Having a dog is a big responsibility. It is a commitment, and it's also like you always have to be on, or I did anyways. I think I did go a little bit overboard. Not having to worry about whether you have to rush home or you have to wake up early to take the dog out, that kind of stuff. It's just nice to have a little break, you know? So I would drive. I was so lucky. My friend's sister has a beautiful property up like 2 hours north of Toronto. And I would drive the freaking 2 hours one way just to drop Charlie off for a night, 2 nights, a weekend, or even a week, so that I can have some sort of, I guess, a timeout. So that's a lesson I learned. Respite, very big fan. Number 9. Number 9, again, is a lesson for me, a lesson I may or may not break in the future. Charlie, when he came, he was crate trained and loved his crate. And I untrained him and got him into the bed. Charlie was the worst dog for me to have in the bed because I am the worst sleeper, and Charlie is also a bad sleeper. Gets triggered by movement. Basically, if I move, suddenly he could lunge. And I've had multiple times where I would move and I would feel him lunge, and I would automatically like shield myself with the blanket. Or once he would grasp onto my finger and he would do the and my hand's swelling up and I'm out of body and I'm just holding like this. That's no way to sleep for either of us. You know what I'm saying? My next dog I would love to have in the bed, like in the morning or in the evening for a bit. Kind of train them to come up on the bed only when I say so. Have that my personal space, my safe space, and have them on a bed wherever else they want. But I think I learned that it's okay to have my safe space, my dog-free space. So that might be my bed. We'll see how that turns out. But that's a lesson. Okay, number 10. I am now like an expert rescue dog website description thingy reader. So if you see a dog for like by a rescue listed for adoption, I can read between the lines of what they mean. And I'm gonna do a separate video on this. And listen, I'm all about rescue. Rescues are great, but having worked with other rescues, I can read between the lines. So, which is also why probably I don't have a dog yet, because they would say cute things like, when he plays with his toys, he doesn't like to share. And they would just say like a one-liner like that, which really means like, he resource guard. That may or may not escalate from there. Those are like red flag, cute little things that they say. So I've learned to read between the lines, especially having learned vocabulary like resource guarding, fear guarding, separation anxiety, things that I didn't know that existed before Charlie. Now I know how to read the behavior and know what the terminology is and kind of go, is this something I'm willing to take the risk on? there will be a video coming on this because this is very important. Number 11, and it is controversial, not all breeders are evil. I follow so many rescues and sanctuaries, and I love them and I respect a lot of them. And there's really bad ones that I don't, because I know what they're like. Because there's good and bad in rescue as well. And I've always had rescues all my life, mostly because my parents are not going to spend money on a dog. But I've also learned to respect breeders who are respectable, who are AKC vetted, who are transparent, who let you see mom, dad, the area where the dogs are, who are, if anything, super strict about, you know, vaccinations or spaying and neutering, who want to keep in touch, who might be over the top, who might have a good family history of physical and neurological issues or non-issues with their dogs that they breed. Breeders are not something I would ever have looked into, ever. And so, as having had Charlie, who was an owner surrender, who had all the challenges that one can be thrown at, I think I would seriously consider going with a breeder at some point in my life, maybe for one of my many dogs that I hope to have one day. If anything, I've learned to have a heightened awareness of shitty rescues and good breeders. So that's kind of where I think I've shifted a bit with having had Charlie and having witnessed the whole pandemic madness around me. Then we're getting close to the end. Number 12 is going to be probably the hardest one. Curb your spending. My spending. Charlie cost me an arm and a leg and then some. Most of it was neurological and physical issues. So his skin issues and his idiopathic aggression, which is what he got diagnosed with eventually. I spent a lot of money on crap. This time around, I would invest my money on the insurance and high quality food and treats. I've spent money life jacket for a dog that doesn't like swimming. I bought Charlie a lot of toys. Charlie did not like toys that much. So was I buying it for me or for him? I got him booties, man. $80 booties that I still have. I don't have the dog, I have the booties because they were freaking $80 that I couldn't even put on him because he would bite my face off. This is also coming from someone who has an online store called forcharlie.com. Check us out. This is again coming from someone who I love dog products, all the dog products, or cat products even, like all the doodad, all the gadgets, all the everything, food, treats. I love them, which is why I always also want to start my own store. But in terms of finances, I would concentrate, not to say I won't spend it on all those things, but I would concentrate on the food and treats and insurance, and then not be so willy-nilly with the rest, which actually rolls nicely with number 13, which is insurance. And I cannot stress enough the importance of insurance. So important, so life-saving. As much as I got into financial issues with Charlie, if I didn't have insurance, I don't know what I would have done. He had to have 2 tail amputation because of his self-destruction, about $1,500 each, I believe.
There he is. Hi, Foofy. Hi, Bubba. Hi, Bubba. Oh, look at your nubbin. Oh my God, you're got a little nub. Oh, look at your nubbin.
So when people say, you know, I'd rather put my money away on my own, you know, $50 a month into an account. But say you have your dog for 3 months, you have $150 saved, and they, you know, eat a sock and you needed like a $5,000 surgery. That $150 is not going to help you. So I'm a big proponent of insurance. Unless I can afford this insurance, I'm not going to get a dog, because I do think that it's very, very helpful to get it. For my circumstances, insurance was a lifesaver. He had Prozac. He was on Prozac every month, which, you know, was $80 a month, I think, that I didn't even know that I could claim with insurance. And retroactively, I did get some money back. But Yeah, and that kind of goes into number 14. I guess these all could have been rolled into one, which is for the quality of life that I want to give a dog, I need to be financially stable. Until I can afford the insurance, which may be a few $100 a month, until I can get good quality food and treats, and make sure all my financials are in a row, I don't think I'm ready for a dog. Not to say that people who don't have that much money, or or don't spend that much money on their dogs, shouldn't have a dog. My parents are a perfect example. I want to be in a financial position to provide the madness that my lifestyle would be for a dog, at least for food and insurance. Number 16, something small like patience, empathy, and love that Charlie taught me. I have my own anxiety issues and such, and having had Charlie really made me empathize of what he might have been feeling and how frustrating it must be not to be able to communicate adequately about all the frustration and issues that you're having. I really, really had the empathy for that. And also, I didn't realize the patience that I was gonna have. I'm a very impatient person, but I remember specifically sitting on the floor with Charlie for about an hour. I'm not exaggerating because I checked my watch then. He was resource guarding a sock, and I knew that if I made any sudden movements, I would have gotten bitten. And I sat on that floor for an hour, and by then we did some training on touch and leave it and stuff. And I was able to get him to drop the sock and come to me. I mean, that was patience like I've never thought I had. Many, many hours spent with this dog like that. And the amount of love that I was able to feel for a dog, and patience despite the things that he did to me. Having bitten me many, many times, even if it wasn't a bad bite, it's always traumatic. But I was able to love him in between those bites so much, and not having the fear that I was gonna get bitten. I don't even know how to explain it. I would smush him knowing that, I mean, he never bit me in those circumstances, but like really understanding his behavior and just loving him even through the madness that we went through. So the love and the patience and the empathy really were heightened during Charlie times. So I really, really realized what I was capable of that I didn't think I was before that. So that was my Bubba, and those are the lessons, about 16 of them, that I learned about myself, and about dogs and about dog ownership, having had Charlie. Leave any comments that are positive underneath, just nice ones. Otherwise I'm gonna delete them, because there's only room for positivity and or lovely feedback that might not be positive, but said in a nice way. So that's it for now. See you next time. Bye everyone.